time now. I think we connected around COVID or something around that. If it wasn't, yeah, somewhere around that time. So yes, it's been some years. Yes, I am a proud Navy veteran. I don't mind being a veteran. I'm also a retired air traffic controller. So when we talk about my ability to be concise and straight to the point, clear, be able to enunciate and all of that, it speaks volumes because it's where I've been, it's what I've done. I had the opportunity to do a lot of things in traveling and moving around. How I got into digital marketing, I'll be short about it because I really want to dive into everything. But I went overseas as a government contractor for a little bit and hung out in the Middle East, Kuwait, Afghanistan, Dubai, and all those places. Took a break because, for taxes in America, you have to stay out the States for a certain amount of time, and decided to go to Costa Rica and study massage therapy. Well, funny story, I realized I don't exactly like to touch everyone. So I Googled how to make money online and I came across digital marketing. So ta-da, that's that's a part of that evolution. So I'm constantly reinventing myself and changing. And that's about what led me here now. So I'm back in the States, currently in Oklahoma. I do teach in different capacities, whether it be cohorts for veterans or chambers and teaching, bridging the gap between AI and digital marketing as a whole. That's that's my area. And so when it comes to being able to present to you guys, definitely is special to me because I haven't had a chance to hang out with Dave in quite some time, but awesome to see such familiar faces. So let's dive right on in. I'm happy to see there's so many people in the B2B space because I do think that what we're going to cover today is helpful in that regard, especially. I left the link in the chat, but of course, it may have to be reposted for anyone that came a little later to be able to access the workbook. And of course, if you have issues doing that, let me know so that we can make sure we get you in. We will be going through to fill out some of the portions. So this is an active time. I'm fast enough to make sure we can get through content, but I really do want you to leave with things that you can apply to your business today. So hello, the topic we have going on is empower your business with an AI marketing system. Now, I understand that there is a lot of misconceptions about whether or not we utilize AI, where to put it in your business, what to do, where to start with it. And we're going to go over those things today. So don't you worry. When I go through and do consultations with business owners, I find very often that they don't actually have a marketing problem. When they come to me, they think they have to be rescued in some way, shape, or form. Maybe the way that I post on Facebook isn't good enough, or, my picture isn't cute enough, things like that. But it's usually not a marketing problem. It's usually a system problem. Why is that? Because you haven't mapped out the flow. More than likely, you got so excited about whatever cool things you had to offer that you didn't take the time to evaluate how you want a business owner to contact you or your client or customer to contact you, what success looks like, not just for you, but also for them. When you do that, you've established a plan that then allows you to go and find the tools that work best for you. Why is it important to know what works best for you? Because it's going to change every other day. AI tools are being birthed about every 2 seconds nowadays. You're going to see something flashy, but more than likely you don't need to buy it. If you know what you want your sales cycle to look like, you can make a more educated decision when it comes to understanding what tools work for you, which ones don't, what you need to ignore. Okay, so a part of the workbook that you do have is starting to map some of those things out. Let's look at the holes that you have and go from there. The silent revenue killer. So we're talking about holes. Well, this is a great place to start. Where are we starting? We're starting from your overall sales process. So ideally, a lead or a contact comes in. They come in and you may or may not see it, depending upon how it's getting to you. If it's coming in email, I can tell you right now, one of my email accounts has like over 100,000 emails that haven't been opened. And I know that's crazy, but just don't judge me. I have a lot of newsletters and yeah, there's a lot of things. So I know that it can be very difficult to sometimes find emails from people that are looking to learn more about what you do. With that, especially if you're in Fashion Nova, trust me, it's crazy. But with that, you may not see when someone is actually trying to get a hold of you to ask about business questions, meaning that your response would be slow. When your response is slow, that really does interfere with the buying process. For instance, if you go into Starbucks and people ignore you for an hour, I'm pretty sure you'd be rather upset because you wanted coffee an hour ago. Well, imagine that being how it is for your client when they're trying to get a hold of you. They sent you a message and miraculously they think the world stopped and you're able to see it immediately and you're going to respond immediately. And those are their expectations. We know that that isn't exactly reality, but the beautiful part about AI is it gives you the opportunity to get as close to that as possible. So lead comes in, possibly slow in your response. Maybe you follow up once or twice, maybe you don't. And then ta-da, where did that lead go? There is so much revenue lost, especially for local and small business owners, in the not following up properly than any other area of marketing tactics, if you will. They'll think, well, oh, I'm not spending enough money in ad spend. But if you're not actually making yourself available to respond to people when they're calling after seeing your ad, or making sure that they can ask questions quickly or get those responses, you're really wasting your money. Overall, marketing is a system. It's an ecosystem and it's fairly large. I usually will describe things in a pillar format just to make it a little more simplified. What do those pillars look like? Well, you have your reputation. As a business owner, we know that that's very important. From your reputation, you'll usually have automation of some sort. What is that? That is the automatically following up with a person via an email. That is the funnels that you may create, whether it be social media or your website and other places. There's paid traffic if you use it. You don't always have to jump in there. And then there's social media. So those are all very different areas of marketing, but they work together more or less as an ecosystem. You plug and play depending upon what you love. And I really want to emphasize the what you love part because there are so many people in the world and so many business owners in the world that you literally don't have to go after a million of them. You really don't. It doesn't take a million for you to be successful. Usually it only takes a few in comparison to that number. So we're going to map that out so we have a better idea of what that number looks like for you and your business. But you don't need everybody. So that means you don't need to be everywhere. Be where you like to be. Focus on that, making this something that you could actually do. If you don't like it, you're not going to do it very long. I mean, that's worse than a job with people you don't like. So keep that in mind as you're moving through business. All right. So why do I harp on speed? I harp on speed because it showcases professionalism. It assists us in that know, like, and trust arena for those that remember of the teachings of that. That speed makes them understand that they're important, helps them feel good, especially when you follow it multiple times. Now they feel really important. So utilizing speed can be a great way to instantaneously up the likelihood that they will purchase from you. Then comes building out that trust. Well, the trust comes in you following up. The more you follow up, the more you're providing them with the value of the things that they're looking for. Emphasis on what they're looking for, not so much on what you want to sell, but what they want. That is very different. The fastest way to figure that out is actually through audiences and social media in particular. If you're not running ads, you're able to see who's finding you versus who you're searching for. You may find that they're very different people. A great example was how Amazon started thinking they would only sell books to college students. And we know that that is not the focus anymore. And that really wasn't the people that are searching for them now or ever were. So something really to keep in mind. As they're booking and you're encouraging that trust through the continuation of not just of how you provide your services, but how you stay in communication. That is what allows for growth. Multiplication can happen so fast in business if you just set yourself up to receive it. How so? Because people talk. Believe it or not, they like to talk a lot. And the more they're talking about your business, the more other people are going to be curious about your business. And you being in a position to also address those is a great way to launch things. So if we're looking at this is February, we're 2026. If you focused on getting, let's say, 5 clients this month, asking those 5 clients for referrals and or reviews, that immediately starts that multiplication process to make it to where you're not having to search for a whole five come next month. Now we're talking about compound interest. So just know that that does fuel growth. This is a system. I want you thinking in systems as we go through this. Systems are powered and fueled by automation. Now, clearly, we all know that Sarah O'Connor is not coming. If the ArcNet was supposed to be launched, we're a little late. I don't know what Terminator's doing, but I think you got to do some research on just about every movie Will Smith has created. But beyond all of that, and I always harp on the fact that if a robot tries to make you a pie, get it out of your house. And that's for those that have seen iRobot. If you haven't, I encourage you to watch the movie before you buy a Tesla bot. Okay. Um, Automation helps to protect the relationship. How does it? Because as big of a heart as you have for all of your clients and customers, you're still human. It's difficult for me to keep up with my siblings. I have five. That's a decent amount to me. That's we could take up every day of each other's lives very, very easily. When you're looking to scale your business, the way that you make a person still feel special, because everyone wants to feel seen and heard and all those beautiful things, is through automation. What kind of automation? There's a huge variety. Automation actually does fall in your social media posts because you're constantly going out to those that are subscribing to you. Quick caveat therein. When it comes to things like Facebook, I'm not yet there for the meta side, or Twitter. The reach is not exactly what you think. It's usually only 1 to 3% of your audience. Some of the real big powerhouses are actually YouTube. YouTube does amazing, not just in paying you once you monetize, but in them really trying to push their own content. And if you haven't noticed, they just started ramping up their ads, which lets you know that they're spending a lot of money on their platform to get your info out. Additionally, LinkedIn. Why LinkedIn? Because they go up and down in engagement and activity. So it isn't difficult to be seen on LinkedIn. It doesn't take a whole lot of interaction for people in your community to find you. And whenever you see a platform promoting big names like celebrities and things like that, recommending you follow them, it's because of the fact that they don't have enough content going on from the little people. So just keep that in mind. I'm not calling you little. Okay. But you know what I mean. All right. So automation is how you protect those relationships, how you keep them going, and also helping to pay attention to the fact that just because a person doesn't buy right now doesn't mean they don't want to buy. Maybe they forget. It's a great way to be reminded. Additionally, maybe they want to purchase again. But if you're not saying something to them, saying hello occasionally, hey, look, this is a new thing I just did for a client. This is this new thing I just launched. Or, hey, I'm still doing the old thing, and this is somebody else that's happy about it. That's how you stay top of mind. So you just don't want to forget about them. What does that process overall look like? Now we're going to go into the workbook for a second as I start to describe the growth starter system. And let me make sure I got here. I'm pulling it up myself. If you haven't gotten it, it is in the chat. Let me know if I need to repost or, anything like that. So I'm going over to page number 3. And this is where we're mapping out the growth system. Okay. The focus.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
Latoya. I came in late, so I don't see it. If you don't mind reposting it, please.
I gotcha.
Thank you.
Paste. All right. So it's the first button on my link tree. And there you go. So we're talking about a 7-pillar system. The best way to approach anyone else's system, anyone else's tactics, is to first establish what yours are. I understand that there are a lot of gurus out there, but just because you copy and paste what someone else has done does not mean that it actually works for your business model or what you like to do. You have to customize these things. So I want you to take a second and start thinking about what you don't like. What do I mean by that? If you don't like people calling you, then calls is not going to be included in your growth system. Or instead, you can implement AI to take those phone calls. That is a thing. Okay. And they actually have gotten really good in the voices and all of that. If you don't like emails, then provide other ways, whether it be marketing on social media, whether it be directing them to a particular page on your website. I emphasize particular page. Why? Because normally when you send someone to your glorified brochure online, it's like sending a hungry person into Walmart. You don't know what they're going to look at. You don't know what they're going to take. They might have meant to get bread and they leave with a mop. Like it's just not going to be the same. Okay. So you want it to be as focused as possible. All right. Mapping out their overall journey is number 2 in the list. And it is really by far one of the most important pieces because if you don't know the journey they're supposed to take, they don't know the journey they're supposed to take, and we're not going on a journey. Okay. So you gotta pick one. Automating the follow up. Well, yes, you want to automate the follow up as much as possible, but first you want to establish what that follow up should look like. For instance, how often do you need to communicate with them after onboarding or after getting them started? Is it once a week? Is it a couple days that week and then maybe every 2 weeks? Is it once a month thereafter? All of these things need to be outlined. Okay. The relationship layer. It is so important as a business owner to set boundaries. What is that relationship supposed to look like? What do you want them to do? If you haven't noticed, time does not equal money. Why doesn't it? Because your time is worth so much more than what money can buy. You can't replace that, but we can always go and get more money. So really I encourage you not to be so forthcoming and that being a selling point in your business. Oh, you get unlimited access to me. They can't pay for that. They can't afford that. No one can afford that. So setting your boundaries is very important for you to establish what that relationship looks like. Why do you do it? One, so that you stay happy and you're great at performing whatever it is that you do or providing whatever service that is. 2, they will be completely comfortable with the boundaries you set. Why? Because people are okay with you telling them what to do. How do we know that? How often do you tell them on a video to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and they do it? Continuously. They're just kind of waiting to be told. And if you're clear about how they should do it, they're going to do it. Big brands have already made that happen for you. So we're able to just piggyback on that. Big brands already communicate about 50 times a day in text messages, emails, social media, videos. Apps are trying to sell the data. So, of course, they're also giving them notifications about every 2 seconds. It's okay. Feel free. Tracking the revenue leaks. You won't know where things are disappearing if you're not tracking it. That's just clear. And tracking it is different for every person. The easiest way to start with that is going to be, Google Sheets for me. I'm a Google fan. If you're Microsoft, I understand, but me and Excel don't always work. Okay. I'm learning about pivot tables right now. And it's just not a thing. The tracking them so that you have an idea is so important. And when you go further down in the workbook, as we go deep dive, there will actually be some formulas there to help you figure out where that is. Engaging past the lead. It's so important for you to keep your human aspect in that you don't just disregard a person because they didn't want to buy right then and there. Everyone counts. All right. And then, of course, refine and scale. Continuously refining and scaling. Why are we doing that? Well, because something cool to make my life easier may have just come up. Or I found that I don't really like doing what I thought I liked to do. So that's got to go. Your life changes. The way that you handle business changes. Those are all things I really want you to take the time to figure out. The step 1 in the worksheet is actually a business snapshot. And for whatever reason, that said business, it says your current number, and that is weird. Okay, so yeah, disregard the matrix part. I'll leave that there. But it asks for your name, your industry, monthly leads on average. Now we're just guessing things. Obviously, you're able to change this up as much as you would like. I would encourage you to make a separate copy of this workbook with your goals in it. So we're starting off with a business snapshot of where you are, but another one to be able to focus on what you want to do, where you want to be. And you can always revisit that before the end of the year to see if you got there. Monthly revenue, average customer value. Now, if you don't have the average customer value at the moment, that's what ChatGPT and others are for. Perplexity is great when it comes to doing research. Honestly, these AI engines, for the most part, were designed for that, for you to upload documents and for them to go and research in their database. It's open database for that reason, to be able to answer questions like that in your industry. Your closure rate, average it. We don't have to go crazy. You can just do it over the last month. And then your main lead sources. That is giving us a baseline. Okay, for this is where I'm at right now. Be honest with yourself, of course. If you don't know at least two of the numbers in there, then we want you to highlight it immediately. Why? Because we got to take a step back before you start driving anything else. If you start to scale without taking care of things in the baseline, you're going to drive yourself crazy very fast. And there's something called churn in marketing, where you have clients that only stay for a certain amount of time. It's a very big number to pay attention to, because if you scale too fast without taking care of the individual people or these individual leaks, you'll wonder what happened to them and why they disappeared, and you won't know where the money went. So that's why we're starting here. Your lead responses is the next area, the lead response audit. Now, again, we're auditing, we're just seeing where you're at. Okay. Do you respond to new inquiries within 5 minutes? Yes or no? Missed call text back. That is a feature that is available for if a person calls you, you're too busy, say you're handling things in another client, you're communicating or you with someone else that you may network with. So you missed the call. AI is able to text them back and help book an appointment. Those are things that are available. Do website forms trigger an instant SMS or email reply? I would encourage it not to be completely instant. Make it at least 30 seconds, a minute or something delayed, so that people don't completely feel like it's a bot, even though it is. But we're trying to help them out. All right. The social media DMs, same thing. That's what delayed responses are for. And then when do you receive leads, do the leads receive a booking link so that they can schedule themselves? People do like the ability to schedule themselves. I do believe that I think it was Acuity was a great tool. I said back in the day, that's like 2 years ago nowadays, right? But that would compare to show their calendar and your calendar at the same time. Those aren't things that you see, too often now, but their ability to maneuver it with their own calendar is very, very big. So having a booking link is important. After you figure these things out, look at your no answers. Circle where that weakest gap is, and that's where you start. So if you got onto this call not knowing really where to start when it came to auditing, or just taking another look at your business as a whole, we've gone over taking care of the overall foundation. In an ideal world, what do I want my sales process to look like? Make sure that you map it out to in perpetuity, meaning from a person just finding out about you or a business just finding out about you till the grandkids plus have grandkids, all of that. What is your exit strategy? What is the overall wealth plan? Why? Because you'll establish your business differently depending on what that looks like. Why? Because everyone's not you. So the way in which you establish your business to take care of things a decade from now, if you're planning on selling it to someone, has to be able to, plug and play, if you will. If you're not, if it's staying in the family, the secret recipe, the secret sauce that no one's ever going to get and is only passed down in your will, then that's going to be a little different. So things to pay attention to, but those are all very real instances. Follow-up audit, whether or not you follow up with people. I don't think I have to go into that. You don't even have to write it down. That is your business, but whether or not you do that and how often you don't do it. Um, Number 4, we are looking at protecting the human touch. Okay, so for the most part, we're business to business professionals. There is always a layer of humanity involved in that. Regardless of how cool your item is, if they don't like you, they'll just get the same thing from somebody else, right? So there is still a human factor involved, even when AI is implemented. How do you adjust that? You adjust it just through customizing. You customize the way you do business. So, for instance, Dave made it very clear. Obviously, I speak clearly. He blames it on my military background. What he doesn't know is I came from a generation where sometimes you had to answer the phone for your mom and you had to be able to imitate. That's where I actually learned how to speak well. Mom worked customer service. I would be at the desk. I had to be able to answer the call when she went to the bathroom and nobody know that it was a kid. So there you go. But however you handle those things, this is that time. Okay. Things that you pay attention to are making sure they love you and trust you. How do you do that? That's on the way you perform what you do. Having empathy, having emotion, meaning that you're not trying to stuff anything down anybody's throat. This is the day and age where they're able to do all the research in the world by themselves. They really don't need you like that. They're able to do so much research that it can completely bypass competitors you didn't even know you had. The way that you interact with a person is going to dictate whether or not that humanity actually comes forth in your sales process. Okay, make sure I didn't miss anything. Then we get into the revenue opportunity calendar, or excuse me, calculator. How many leads do you get? What's that number? How many do you actually contact? How many are you actually following up with? The average, customer value, and then paying attention to what we're losing. So there's a quick hint there. And I already told Dave, don't ask me to do math too early. But the way that you're going to calculate this is an example. So if you have 100 leads and 20% is missed, that equals 20 lost leads. Within that 20, if they're all worth $1,000, well, that was $20,000 that you lost that month. These are simple equations that I also encourage you to use in your closing process as to why people need you. Okay. Just a little tidbit. And then last is not last, but second to last is your automation priorities. Rank them so we can get an idea. What do you think is the most important? Right after that is my commitment. You don't need me to tell you to commit to your business. You're already there. You're here. These are just things to help empower you. I understand that being a business owner can be lonely at times. So these are things just to help you out. Okay. And then your overall growth and vision. I focus on things being in 90-day cycles because of the fact that it gives me the intensity that I'm after while also helping me have enough time to change it up before the tax year ends, because that's what I'm paying attention to is taxes. I don't know if that's what you're doing, but taxes are crazy in America. All right. So that is the deep dive of the overall starter growth system. Yes, there's some free tools in there. Caveat, don't buy nothing. I don't want you going in there to buy anything. Okay. That is not my encouragement. I actually do offer a marketing audit for you. Please don't buy nothing until we have that conversation. Why? Things are coming into play about every other day. My encouragement is not for you to have 85 different subscriptions or any of that craziness. You may not even need some of these things. Paper and pen still work. Okay. All right. Just put that out there. And there you go. And of course, the link to be able to book that is at the bottom. And if you have any questions, if you just put them in the chat, we will get to that later on. But that was a bit of a deep dive in regards to the overall growth system. I really do encourage you to take some time with that and let's focus on it. Speed to lead. The goal, your newfound goal, your task, if you wish to accept it, is to respond in under 5 minutes. If you can't do that, AI can. Why? They don't sleep. They don't take sick days. They don't have emotion. That's the beautiful part about cloning yourself into an AI bot. And for those that are like me that wear the metal hats, I'll let you know, or the foil hats, excuse me, it's too late. So your voice has already been sold. Your likeness is already gone. If you haven't seen the updates and terms and conditions and read them, let it go. Okay. The goal now is for you to have enough money to fight back and hold on to as much as your identity as possible in the future. But if you don't have enough, it's not going to go very far, no matter how much you try to sue. And I want you to keep in mind as you're going through this whole tech renovation of your business, whenever there are a lot, and when I say a lot, I would say 4 or 5 plus companies contacting you saying that their terms and conditions have changed, alarm bells should go off because Something is occurring that they usually don't want you to figure out. How do you figure out what's going on? Take those terms and conditions, put them into the AI browser of your choice, and ask it questions. Ta-da, you don't have to read it. There you go. And nowadays, you can even have it read it to you if you like. Great way to fall asleep. Okay. So our goal is to respond in under 5 minutes. The first mover advantage. If you've ever used Angie's List or any of these others, then you know that everyone's just trying to run to say hello to you as fast as possible because they think that that's the only way that they're going to make the sale. It depends. If your toilet's overflowing, yeah, probably. But in other cases, not exactly as much. It still is very helpful if someone is like, oh, I was just thinking about buying a TV and you sell TVs. And all of a sudden you just showed up on my feed selling TVs and they look great and you see very responsive. All of those things make sense in the sales process. How do you make sure that you're visible? Go and Google yourself. And if you don't have enough links to fill up the page, it's time to get some more. Okay. All right. Mapping out the journey. I really can't say this enough. Map it out, put it big. If you could see I'm thankful for my construction brother, but the unrealistically large whiteboard I have in the back with many maps of customer journeys and sticky notes. Yes, that is a great way to go with mapping out the journey. Map it out, remap it out as you get new shiny things, whether it be AI tools or new sales processes, or you learn something new. The beautiful part of business today is that most people are lazy. What do I mean? They'll buy the conference, they'll go to the conference, they'll take tons of notes at the conference, they'll get home, and that conference book went somewhere. We don't know where it went, but they're surely not using it in their business. So by you focusing on implementation, you're already substantially ahead of everyone else in your industry. Team that up with implementation that's done regardless of whether or not you feel like it, which is what AI is for. And oh my goodness, I accept gifts. I accept cake, brownies. I'm from California, so we take wine. But as you're using these things to actually get up there, I don't remember me. Okay. Automating of the follow-up. The hard truth is we think that what was it? 7 touches was good enough. It's not anymore. Okay. This is 2026 where we are information overload. We are stimulation overload in so many ways. I would say continuously follow up until they tell you to stop because at least they're communicating with you and they more than likely read it. Okay. So that will let you know when you're doing too much is when they tell you to stop. It does give instant acknowledgement because people do want to be acknowledged. And maybe they just need that confirmation. If they're like me and they have crazy amounts of to-do lists, it's helpful in all of our ADHD tendencies to be able to line something out. So understanding that your follow-up helps with that. Appointment reminders. Oh my goodness, how important is that? People will go and they'll see you on social media. And let's say you have a webinar and that's great. So they sign up, but they forgot that they signed up for that webinar by the evening. Their memory is like goldfish. It's being trained to be that way. So please have many of the reminders when it comes to overall appointments. I encourage at least a 3-day, a 1-day, 3 hours at least, 10 minutes, 30 minutes. I do all of that just to make sure. And it also makes sure that if there's any tech difficulties or if they have to reschedule, that they have ample opportunity to do that. So you're not wasting your time either. Oh, did I miss anything? I think, okay, no. All right. That relationship layer. Obviously, it's a blast to have conversations when you love the client or you're just so excited or they've already signed the paperwork and everything is going well, but you have to be so respectful of not just your time, but keeping those boundaries. So as I encourage you to go deeper in that relationship, let that process happen over time versus you trying to throw up in their face in an hour. Okay. That's something to pinpoint. But humans still close deals. I am seeing that through passive selling, if you will, through things like social media posts or videos. technically, I guess that's AI selling, but they haven't completely taken over and, gave us the fragrance testers in the mall. So there's still some expectation of you needing to be the one to actually close the deal. It's nowhere near as difficult as it used to be. Ask for the sale. Let them know up front. Hey, this is going to cost three. Typically, my clients spend about $3,000 to $5,000 a month with me. Is that something that'd be okay with you? And you know what? If it isn't, just let me know before we're done. We'll just go ahead and focus more on how we can help each other in business. Like you can rearrange the conversation, but if you get over the money conversation immediately, you'd be surprised at how much easier it is to just communicate because they already know. And then tell them to either, put it on their card that gets the most travel points or something and make it enticing on both sides. Tracking the revenue leaks, we went over that. I can't stress it enough. You will know more about where the leaks are in your business than I do in generalizing. But if you don't have it written down, no one's going to know what that direction is supposed to look like. Engaging past leads. Every time you do something cool, everyone needs to know. The people that are your current clients, the people that showed up and didn't buy, the people that saw you because they're connected to your current clients, they all need to know that you just did something cool. That is one of the best ways to showcase content in today's day and age. People like to go a little bit behind the scenes. Let's say that you're a cook. They will watch you cook regardless of whether or not you're following a recipe. Like you don't have to go too crazy, but let them know what you're doing. All right. And then, of course, refine and scale. When you're refining and you're scaling, don't be afraid to ask your clients, hey, how did you like this sales process? Is there something you think I should bring in? Something that you thought was unnecessary? Have that kind of communication. All right. I have some stats there just to help you out on what that golden window is. Something I like to pay attention to is the fact that everyone doesn't find you the same way that you find you. Why is that important to know? Believe it or not, people still use Yahoo for whatever weird reason. So they're using Yahoo to find you. Have you checked to see what your business looks like on Yahoo? Maybe, maybe not. We focus on Google My Business profiles, which is great because they also own YouTube. So we're moving up, hitting two birds with one stone. But pay attention to that, which is also why it's great to ask the question of how you found me. And then if someone is referring your business so much that their name is coming up multiple times, it would be really intelligent to send them a gift. Just saying. If they like brownies, there is a company called Fairy Tale Brownies that will actually customize the box with your brand. So if you're looking for a way to spruce it up, they do quite a bit. So other ways to follow up. When you are mapping out that journey, it is from first click to lifelong customer. What are we paying attention to? Whether they are finding you on an ad, whether they're going to your Facebook page, whether they're watching your YouTube video, they are at your booth at a business expo. That's the first click until lifelong customer. Maintaining consistency throughout is so important. And so I really do encourage you to continuously refine. And this is why bringing in AI will keep you from feeling crazy stressed in the midst of doing that. And I went too fast. How does it help you out? By being a hybrid. Don't necessarily have it take over your whole business on the onset. There's still a lot of growth happening. You can take comfort in knowing that today is the worst AI is going to be, because by tomorrow, it will have taken enough data to become new and improved. Keep that in mind. That's also why you want to continuously go back and check your own systems. When's the last time you went through your sales funnel? It's important to do that often. That's how you find out where the problems are ahead of time. But you figuring out what's comfortable for you and where you want to deploy AI versus where you want to still speak to people is important. After you figure out what that is, find out whether or not your customers like that balance or not. Maybe they really don't want to talk to you. That's okay. I don't need to talk to the woman that built Spanx. I could just go and buy it myself. We don't even have to talk to each other. Okay. You figure out what that is for your business. And there's a quick formula for you. If you multiply the lost leads you had per month, time your average deal value, of course, you're understanding the revenue that was sitting on the table. It's so important to quantify these things that you understand. When it comes to how you're spending your money in marketing, once you've quantified these things, now you know what to ask for as you're contacting a marketing professional because you want to plug those holes or plug those gaps. Last but not least, it is time to stop gathering information. You're getting a whole lot of information thrown at you in so many different ways. Fire hoses are everywhere. We're all drenched. The focal point should be on you transforming the amazingness for your business. Okay, that's where everything starts. And you don't even have to take a lot of time in doing so. I personally like to have timers to help remind me and help keep me on task. You do what works for you, but transforming is so much better than buying 85 books that you don't read or paying another 15 grand for a course that you know you're not going to implement. Please pay attention. So, things that we got to offer. Well, I got a free marketing audit that I'm doing for you guys. So you're able to book your session via the link tree. It should have a booking button on there. But the overall goal, whether we meet or not, is for you to take a moment to launch your actual system. Okay. And yes, there's free tools in there for you to explore. But before you think about buying anything, please let me know. My focal point isn't so much on selling you the world as it is on educating you so that we all do great in business. So that concludes that portion of the presentation. I wanted to make sure that I gave more than enough time for answering of questions. So I will stop sharing. And whoa, you guys are doing like paragraphs in the chat. What is happening? Hold on a second. I may not be able to read all of it. All right. Making it big.
And while you're doing that, Latoya, I'll just ask the members of the group to, if you have questions, you can have your digital hand up. So she'll see
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You'll rise to the top of the screen and she'll see it.
I always like the rapid fire. Let's do it. Okay, I'm going back up. Thank you, Amy. She had to take her son to school.
Yeah, she just popped in and she couldn't stay. So,
Oh, no.
all right. So the hands
Oh,
start
there.
going up. Of course, Karen is the first one. She's got a lot of questions for you.
Oh, she has a list? Okay, go
No,
ahead.
actually, the real question that I have, I've asked before, and I still am not too sure.
Okay.
Follow up. I have a major problem following up. I can do it once, I can do it twice. Um, After that, I don't know if you know who Crazy Eddie was. He owned an electronics store. It was Crazy Eddie's, and the commercial was this guy. I don't know if he was an actor or actually Crazy Eddie, and he used to talk to you like this. I mean, he was screaming in your face, and that's how I feel when I get to have to do a third follow up. And you're saying to just go on ad
Keep
nauseum,
going.
really? Yeah, I don't know what to say after the second one.
So that's what AI is for. Definitely
Yeah,
going
I don't
through.
want to give AI my voice and everything. I really
Well,
don't.
you don't have to give your voice. Uh, One of the best ways to reactivate past people or people you haven't spoken to recently, it's called a database reactivation campaign. That is marketing speak for you to go and create 5 emails to communicate with them. So you would go into AI and you're going to ask it to create a 5 email, a 5-day email sequence for you. Tell it what you want to sell, what you want your end goal to be. Do you want it to be playful? Do you want it to be like, hey, I hope you didn't forget about me? You decide what your personality is in that and let it write the copy for you. A funnel is what you plug that into. What is a funnel? A funnel is an automated way to continuously follow up. Now, obviously, there's a lot of softwares and things like that to utilize, but that's what it would be. So the way that that would look in a funnel is you would have a trigger of something. So it's what point does AI launch this? That would be you putting names or contacts in there. That would be you tagging the contact to say follow up or database reactivation, whatever you like. give it a time. Does it immediately send the first one? Does it wait a little bit? Then how long do you wait for the next one? How long do you wait for the next one? I personally found that the 5 email sequence works extremely well, and they usually don't start to see it until the fourth to fifth one, believe it or not. So, one of the ways that I used to do things was on having a special that I'm running. And by the fourth to fifth one, I'm telling them that they're running out or that I already gave it away and, hang out for the next one, things of that nature. They usually are following up saying, hey, I see that I missed that special, but can you let me know when the next one's coming up or things like that. But the reason we do it at least 5 is not because of you, but because of what they see. So I told you I have email accounts with a lot of unread emails. Everyone does. So within that, they may not have seen yours. There's no telling. So by the fourth to fifth, you're actually guaranteeing a chance at them actually seeing it because they probably weren't trying to ignore you. It was just life. So at least 5 to start off with.
Okay. Thank you. That's a big help.
You're very welcome. Oh,
Any follow-up question to that, Karen?
oh yeah, definitely. Let me know before I.
No, not at this time. If I think of something, I'll ask Latoya.
You
Okay,
will. All right, let's get Christopher on the screen. Christopher, come on up.
go ahead.
Okay, you were talking about a lead magnet that you offer.
So I actually was doing
Yeah.
a beta program. Now, why do I start with
Mhm.
betas? I start with betas, one, because people actually know what they are nowadays, anyways.
Mhm.
They didn't before. But beta allows me to launch something new in my business without the scrutiny that you usually get of having something established in your business. For instance, way back when I used to do reputation building videos, and I would launch beta programs, if you will, 5-day launch sequence, say I'm only taking a certain amount, which I could only take a certain amount at that time. It was a little more regulated and not as easy to do as it is today. So usually be like taking 10, counting down as we go through that 5 email sequence. And hey, if I get them all before then, oh, you missed this one. That's okay. In 3 to 6 months, I'll reach out again with a different one. So that was one of the ways that I did it. When it comes to overall lead magnets, I would say it depends. There's a lot of split testing that needs to be done because I have so many workbooks that I haven't used. I have so many lead magnets I've taken from people and not implemented in my business. I find that unless you have a way to follow up and get the actively used, it doesn't hold the value that you need it to. So that's how I move things around for lead magnets.
Any follow-up to that, Christopher?
Yes. Lead magnets is yours more of a one-on? I mean, your lead magnet, what is the purpose of your lead magnet? Is it to book a call? Is it to book a one-on-one interview? Is it to get them to watch a video? What do you think is the most effective lead magnets today?
Definitely depends on your business and your audience because I know people don't mind listening to my voice. And believe it or not, everyone doesn't like everybody's voice. I can definitely do videos and people contact me. That isn't for everyone. For others, it's definitely written, but you want it to be of value in their business. So I would research what are the biggest pain points in such and such industry today? What do they need immediately? And of course,
Mhm.
AI is only limited by you. So go as fine tuned in there as you need to. And then choose that. Not so much of a focus on your stance, but on what they need. If you focus on what they need, they will actually interact with you. So I've done
Is
books,
it?
I've done consultations, I
Mhm.
do free leads. 20 free leads is something I still have in the background. The video building, the social media templates, I've rotated. It just depended on the industry and, what it was I wanted to do in that time.
Mhm. Okay. Well, that's good. Is there any, I mean, would you recommend that if you're starting out on this, that you pick one specific industry to market and talk to? And I think Joe does insurance because I was in a breakout group with him yesterday. And if he offers business insurance, would it be better for him to go to, say, a car dealership if it involves automotive or stuff? how do you, when you're doing this cold calling, do you focus on a singular specific industry or more of an umbrella approach?
So you found one of the things I don't do. I do not cold call. I do
Okay.
not. I do not. I do not. I'm not even about to deal. So my mother worked in customer service. I know what it's like to deal with the gatekeeper in the front, and I'm not about to argue with nobody's receptionist or anything else. I do. I
Hmm.
put information out for an inbound response, meaning that they're coming after me.
Okay.
They are messaging me
Okay.
and then having the systems there to follow up, book the appointment if that's what I want them to do, or buy the software if that's what I want them to do. But that's how I personally do that. The When it comes to focusing on any particular industry, that depends. So it depends on if you're selling a product or a particular kind of service. If it goes to more than one person, then focus on the service. How do we focus on the service? Broadcasting what you do, broadcasting what you did. Hey, I just did this cool new thing and I just signed this person up for business insurance. We had whatever problem, but I was able to solve it after whatever. And I go into detail there a little bit just because people like drama and they're all trying to, everyone's nosy. So they just want to know what you're doing and whether or not they will remember that story more than they will about 50% off. Okay. So
Okay.
something to
Okay.
pay attention to. But if you
Hmm.
only want to talk to car dealerships, that's fine. There's so much more time available to maneuver things around that you don't have to stay with one forever. Meaning, I personally rotate months. So I'll focus 1 month on reputation, another month for automation, another one for social media, another one for paid traffic, and that's me. But if I wanted to focus on an industry in particular, I would focus on their pain points. I would focus on the missed call text back areas for a plumber 1 month.
Hmm.
The next month, I'd talk about like AI voice. The next one, I would talk about my AI or conversation AI services. I would break it up like that, but address it directly to them. Understand that when you do direct anything at a particular business, you're not excluding the world. They don't mind that because it gave them a clear path. So never feel like you're limiting if you just focus on one industry. For me, I get booked often as a speaker, so it's a little different because I'm talking to a variety of groups. I'm in business expos, focus in a variety of industries, so I leave things a little generic in that regard, but I do have the ability to fine tune it. So it depends on what you like to do in your business.
Okay. Well, I'm going to stop there. I've taken up a lot of time. Cliff, go ahead.
I hope it's beneficial, as long as it's beneficial for everybody. I hope.
Well, you had so many amazing things you said, and of course, I think I'm going to remember this. Then another one comes up, and it just keeps going. But one thing you said that I thought, which was very interesting, really, you said about Yahoo. Don't forget about Yahoo. And it reminds me, 20 years ago, I took a change and I went to a college and studied web design and coding and stuff. Anyway, one of the business course right at the end was taught by a guy that had a PhD in werewolfism. Now, I don't know how many people have got PhDs in werewolfism, but anyway, it was very
No.
interesting. He was a very strange guy. But the one thing I remember the most about that was don't forget, you can probably have a very, very good business working with minorities within a minority. And
Mm-hmm.
the example he used was left-handed lesbians. Now, lesbians only make up a small portion of the population. Left-handed ones make a tiny ones. But the point was, you can take a little tiny niche that everybody ignores because they're looking for the big, big thing, but you can make a very healthy income. And he explains some of these people making very good incomes by narrowing down on a very small percentage of the population. And
And
you
what we look
reminded me of
at
that.
as a small percentage isn't small. So yes, it's a small percentage of the overall population, but that could be thousands of people. Do
Yeah.
you, so it really, it depends.
Mm. Well, when part of the business group many, many years ago, I don't know if Dave remembers this, was a girl who came in and she was a lesbian lady in business. And she said, don't forget this part of the community because a lot of people aren't advertising or working with that community. And it just there's so many little niches of opportunities. I know I used to do a lot of optimization, and everybody be looking at Google and all these things. But a lot of the smaller section, like I said, Yahoo. It may only have two, three, I don't know what it is percentage of the traffic, but it may be a lot easier to target traffic through there than going through through Google.
Absolutely. And most people don't change out their browsers. So that's also something to consider. So some people are using Copilot, some people are using Gemini, whether that be Microsoft Explorer. I'm a big Edge fan and Firefox. It just depends.
Yeah.
But paying attention to them all. How do we do that quickly? Their Yext is still around, Yext, and they assist with your, why did I just forget how to say that? Directories over a large area. So that is, one of the ways that you do that in robust.
Mm-hmm.
And Cliff, does that
But
satisfy
thank
what
you.
you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, there's some interesting stuff. I mean, in one sense, I'm glad I'm not in business anymore because, when we started, my wife's a psychotherapist and I had various businesses, but you could put a snippet just in the content about a particular thing, and you'd get all these leads coming from it. It seemed to be so easy, sort of 30 years ago, 20 years ago anyway. Yeah.
It's a
And
little wild now, a little wild.
Yeah.
yeah, so it seems, Latoya, that we need to be more accurate on what we're looking for these days than back in the days that Cliff is talking about, because now we have to go through the whole funnel process, and a lot of folks probably on this very call is lost in that process. So maybe if you can walk me through what a simple funnel is, so that people will understand, and maybe they can start getting into the simple funnel and then elevate after that.
I focus on templates. So again, the starting point is on what you want your sales process to be. If you know what you want your sales process to be, then we plug and play into that based upon what you want to do. For instance, I like webinars, I like presentations, things like that. I have funnels that are particular for that. I wouldn't know to get a funnel for webinars if I didn't pay attention to the fact that I like webinars. So you decide what that is for your business to be able to act on it. I am pulling things up, but I want you to just be familiar with the term at least so you have an idea. But it is the if this, then that statements. So if a person does this, take them there. If they say no, take them there. And yes, if they don't do this, put them over there. But that's what you're doing when it comes to overall workflow. It's if this, then that. And I will do a quick share of my screen. Yes, I use Go High Level. I love Go High Level. But again, I'm not trying to sell you nothing. I'm just letting you know these are the things that I use. It is very easy to see workflows in that regard. So the form is submitted. We were just talking about webinars. Creates an opportunity, which is them being in my sales flow list so I can move them around. It tags them so that I know how they contacted me, because we got to fill out all the who, what, when, where, how. All those things still apply. The fundamentals are still there. Okay. Sends out a confirmation email, obviously, is necessary so that they know all the details to be able to access the webinar. Sends out an SMS, because text messaging, people actually do feel really special when the alarm goes off on your phone. How do you get access to SMS? You get approved in America, well, it's not just America, but the A2P process, which is regulated outside of like an individual marketing agency, but it's just making sure that your stuff doesn't automatically go to spam. That's how you're able to get the numbers to do those things. If I change up my summit date, that's what that placeholder is for. 4 days before I start to contact them. 3 days before, we're contacting them. 2 days before, we're contacting them. 1 day before, contacting them. 3 hours before. So this is just an idea, but that's what that funnel looks like. Why is it helpful to have this process in a way that I can see it? Is so I can add and or delete as I feel necessary. The amount of options available within this platform are crazy. I don't know if I should show it, but these are all the things I can do with a contact as far as actions. But again, it's our focus on the if this, then that statements. The if else is what you're seeing here at the top. If I had some people coming from social media on one side, the form on another side, their triggers that would fill into activating this to let them know, hey, that's how I want, to get that moving. Okay. But that's an example of an overall workflow. I hope that was helpful.
It was indeed.
Okay.
Let, before I ask any more questions, let's go to the folks with their hands up. Helen,
Oh,
go ahead,
yes.
please.
And I like the bus.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just asking my co-pilot to please compare and contrast ClickFunnels and high level or what?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, I definitely like your presentation style. I like my previous relationship with you when I met you years ago in
It's been a
Happiness
while.
Neighborhood Network. I
Yeah.
like that you moved to Oklahoma where the
Ish.
wind comes sleeping down the plains. Yeah. What?
I, they literally try
She
to pick
lives
me up with the
everywhere.
wind.
Yeah. Oh, but those wildfires, are you that's been quite a
I was
bother.
in Northern California, so I was okay.
No,
But
in
yeah.
Oklahoma, the ones that are sweeping into Kansas and
Oh,
causing
I don't know.
accidents on the highway. Yeah.
Helen, let's get your question because we want to get
I
Charlie some
just
Oh,
wanted
work
to know
too.
how
sorry.
much it costs. What's the bottom line? And I will then see what my co-pilot's telling me.
Well,
And then Kurt's in here, so we've got double duty going on, triple
yeah, there's
duty.
two options there. So if you go directly to go high level, you're able to do a multitude of things. The high end is 497 a month. If you have an agency account, what does that mean? That means that you'll have a bunch of other accounts under you to be able to manage. And it's not necessarily accounts, it's just workspaces is one way to describe it. It's known as the sub account, but agency means you'll have a variety of those things. The reason I don't tell people to jump into going into go high level on their own is because the amount of support that you need to set things up is not there. It's for marketers by marketers. So if you don't have assistance in onboarding, that could be a crazy learning curve. So just things to keep in mind. But I believe on the low end, it was like $100 a month. Again, the onboarding is different. So
What if
I
we go
usually,
through you and then we create a group so that we onboard quickly, get our questions answered, and are successful? Because Kurt and I are working with a nonprofit, Helpopedia. That's what I typed into the chat. I documented. If we have our proper business structure set up, then we can quickly get these volunteers out of debt. When I find out that somebody's on a board volunteering and they've got credit card debt, I just want to grab their faces and say, stop, run to a bank, get a loan, pay off those credit cards, and then work with us to show, because I was trained in Philip DeVoe's Bridges Out of Poverty. 18 months to bridge out of poverty. But I like to say Philip Defoe didn't have my parents, my grandmother, nor did he have my nursing education. So I took homeless vets and they bridge out of poverty. And when they give attention to their reasons they have PTSD and anxiety and don't want to hold a job, then we have liftoff. We've got
so
strong
I would
engines.
say it could start as low as a couple hundred. It depends. It depends on what you need. So it's whether or not you're just accessing the software and don't need extensive support. It is, or will include the AI employee itself. I usually have that conversation to understand your sales process before I recommend anything, because I'm not going to give you a bunch of shiny things you can't use.
Well, the
So
beautiful thing is this converges. So I'm at a decision point this morning. They tried to get us to make the decision last night, $997, a one-time fee. And have you heard of Russell Bronson? Have you ever gone to any of his trainings?
She
I
has.
am familiar,
But
but we
guys,
should
we're
probably
gonna
wait.
take this conversation off Zoom, and we have to
Oh,
continue
okay. I'm sorry.
elsewhere
I thought it
because
would benefit everybody that's here.
no,
So yeah,
because we're running out of time. We got 10
okay,
minutes
I'll
left,
zip it. Thank you,
and I
Dave.
want to get some other people involved here. So we're gonna get Charlie to come up. You're driving. Do not take notes. If there's something
Well,
that you need,
that's
you
my
can reach
question.
back to me, and I can get it to you.
that was my question is I was having to get ready and take notes and there's been so many gems. Latoya, first, thank you for your service
Yes.
and thank you for this. It's just absolutely amazing. And I put my comment in there. I was at Mardi Gras and my son lives in Algiers Point. That's where Federal City is. And he was talking about how they're moving into AI. And I've been talking to him about AI. And they brought some people down from DC and they said, okay, I think I put the quote in there. And Linda Hamilton lives in Algiers Point, just a few blocks from Federal City. So this one person down from DC said, "Well, we'll know we're in trouble when we see Sarah Coulter." And Sky Point has taken over, and they all started laughing and said, "We see her all the time." So it
Oh
was kind of
my.
funny. But I am going to connect you with Morgan because we were talking about some of the things we're looking at business, and you know the military is business. And you might have worked with him. He was a former Cobra pilot, both in Afghanistan and Iraq and around and about. Y'all paths could have crossed. But again, thank you again. And I would definitely need the recording. I will do whatever it takes. I'll even give you free toothpaste if you need that.
Wow. That's a new one. I haven't gotten toothpaste as a gift since I was overseas. So that's different. Those would come in wellness boxes on military bases, but yeah,
All
I
right,
can
let
appreciate
me
that.
stop the recording at this point.